Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair, sipping his morning coffee when the alert signal rang through the bridge of the starward bound. The sharp beeping sound made everyone look up from their workstations. Jake put down his cup and leaned forward. "What do we have, Danny?" Jake asked his communications officer. Danny looked at his screen with confusion. "Sir, we're getting a distress signal, but it's not like anything I've seen before. The frequency is strange, and the signal pattern doesn't match any human or known alien format." Jake stood up and walked over to Danny's station. The screen showed waves of energy and patterns that looked almost like music. "Where is it coming from?" "The Kepler 442 system, sir. That's the uncharted system about 2 hours away at full speed." Jake rubbed his chin. The Starward Bound was on a routine exploration mission in this sector. They had been mapping new star systems for 3 months now. Most of the time they found empty space or dead planets. This was the first distress signal they had received. "Could it be a trap?" asked Ryan Torres, the security chief. He was a big man with careful eyes who always thought about danger first. "Maybe," Jake said. "But if someone really needs help, we can't just ignore it." Dr. Lisa Campbell spoke up from her position at the science station. "The signal is getting weaker, Captain. Whatever is sending it might not have much time." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They had been together for 2 years now. He trusted them with his life. "Danny, send a message back on the same frequency. Let them know we're coming to help." "Yes, sir." "Megan, take us to full speed toward that system." Jake ordered his pilot and engineer. Megan Foster was young but skilled. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. "Full speed, Captain. We'll be there in 1 hour and 53 minutes. Jake felt the ship speed up beneath his feet. The stars outside began to stretch into lines as they jumped into faster-than-light travel. "Lisa, I want you to scan everything when we get there. Brian, have your security team ready for anything." The next 2 hours felt long. Jake paced around the bridge while his crew worked. Danny kept trying to contact whoever was sending the distress signal, but got no answer. Lisa ran checks on all their equipment. Ryan cleaned his weapons and checked the away team gear. When they dropped out of faster-than-light travel in the Kepler 442 system, everyone gasped. Floating in space ahead of them was a ship unlike anything they had ever seen. It was huge, maybe 3 times the size of their own vessel, but it wasn't made of metal like human ships. "My God," Lisa whispered. "It looks alive." She was right. The alien ship had curves like a living creature. Its surface was smooth and dark green, almost like skin. Strange fin-like parts stuck out from the sides. Instead of engine ports, it had what looked like gills that glowed with soft blue light. "I'm reading life signs," Lisa reported, "but they're very weak. Whatever is inside that ship is dying." Jake stared at the alien vessel. "Any idea what species built it?" "The design looks familiar," Lisa said slowly. "I think this might be a Draknari ship." Everyone on the bridge went quiet. The Draknari were one of the most feared species in the galaxy. Humans had never met them directly, but traders in the Outer Rim whispered stories about them. They called them the Dragon People. Warriors who could fly through space with their own wings. Creatures who had never been defeated in battle. "Are you sure?" Jake asked. "The bioorganic design matches what we've heard. And look at those fin structures. They're positioned like wings." Ryan stepped closer to Jake. "Sir, if that really is a Draknari ship, this could be very dangerous. They're not known for being friendly." Jake nodded. He knew the stories too. But he also knew that someone on that ship was dying. "Danny, try to contact them again." "Still no response, sir." "Captain," Lisa said urgently, "the life signs are getting even weaker. Whoever is in there doesn't have long." Jake made his decision. "Prepare an away team. Ryan, you're with me. Lisa, I need you too in case there are injuries. Megan, you have the bridge." "Sir," Ryan protested, "we don't know anything about their technology or biology. This could be a trap." "Maybe," Jake agreed. "But I didn't become a captain to leave people to die in space." They put on their spacesuits and loaded into the shuttle. The alien ship grew larger as they approached it. Up close they could see that it really did look like a living creature. The surface had patterns like scales, and those gill-like openings pulsed weakly with light. "There," Lisa pointed. "I'm detecting an airlock of some kind." It wasn't like human airlocks. Instead of a round door, there was an opening that looked like a mouth. As their shuttle got close, the opening widened to let them in. "That's definitely not normal," Ryan muttered. They docked inside what appeared to be a landing bay. Everything was curved and organic-looking. The walls had a slight glow to them, like being inside a living creature. The air was breathable but smelled strange, like flowers and electricity mixed together. Life signs are coming from deeper in the ship, Lisa said, checking her scanner. This way. They walked through corridors that curved and twisted like arteries. The walls were warm to the touch. Sometimes they heard sounds like a heartbeat echoing through the ship. This is incredible, Lisa whispered. The entire ship appears to be grown rather than built. It's alive. They followed Lisa's scanner deeper into the ship. The life signs were getting stronger but also more urgent. Whatever they were looking for was in distress. Finally, they reached a large chamber in the center of the ship. Jake stepped through the doorway and stopped. In the middle of the room, curled up on what looked like a nest made of soft glowing moss, was a creature he had never imagined he would see. It was small, about the size of a human teenager. Its body was covered in beautiful emerald green scales that seemed to shimmer with their own light. It had 4 legs but also small wing-like arms folded against its back. Its head was long and elegant with large, intelligent eyes, but the creature was clearly in terrible pain. It was making soft whimpering sounds and holding one side of its face with a clawed hand. Its scales had lost some of their shine and it was shaking. It's just a child, Lisa breathed. Jake stepped closer carefully. The young creature saw them and tried to back away, but it was too weak. Its large eyes were filled with fear and pain. Easy there, Jake said softly. We're here to help. The little dragon creature looked at them with desperate hope in its eyes. Dr. Lisa Campbell slowly pulled out her medical scanner and held it where the young creature could see it. The little dragon's eyes followed her every movement. Its breathing was quick and shallow like a scared animal. It's okay, Lisa said in a gentle voice. This won't hurt you. She turned the scanner toward herself first and ran it over her own arm. The device beeped softly and showed a green light. She held up the scanner so the creature could see the friendly green glow. The young dragon tilted its head, watching with curiosity. Its fear seemed to lessen just a little. That's it, Lisa whispered, and see, it's safe. Very slowly, she moved the scanner toward the creature. When it didn't pull away, she carefully ran the device over its body. The scanner immediately started showing red warning lights and making urgent beeping sounds. Oh no, Lisa said, looking at the readings. Jake, this little one is in serious trouble. What's wrong? Jake asked, keeping his voice quiet so he wouldn't scare the creature. It has a massive infection. Look at this. Lisa showed him the scanner display. The infection is centered in its mouth, but it's starting to spread. If we don't do something soon, it could kill the poor thing. Ryan stepped closer but kept his weapon ready. Can you tell what kind of infection it is? It looks like an abscess. You know, like when a tooth gets infected. Lisa looked at the young dragon with sympathy. The pain must be terrible. The creature seemed to understand they were talking about its problem. It opened its mouth slightly and pointed at one of its fangs with a clawed finger. Even from a distance, they could see that one fang was much bigger than it should be. It was swollen and had a dark, sick-looking color. Poor baby, Lisa said. That tooth is definitely infected. Jake looked around the chamber. Do you think there are others on this ship? Parents, maybe? I'm only reading this one life sign right now, Lisa answered. But this ship is huge. There could be others in different sections that my scanner can't reach. The young dragon made a soft sound almost like a purr, but filled with pain. It looked at Lisa with hopeful eyes as if it could sense that she wanted to help. What's your name, little one? Lisa asked gently. Of course, the creature couldn't understand her words, but it seemed to understand her kind tone. It made a small chirping sound. I'm going to call you Pip, Lisa said with a smile. You're about the size of a pip and you're certainly brave enough. Pip seemed to like the attention. Despite its pain, it tried to sit up straighter. Lisa looked at her medical kit. I have some pain medication that might help, but I don't know how your species will react to human medicine. Is it safe to try? Jake asked. In small doses, maybe. Pain is pain no matter what species you are. The basic biology should be similar enough. She prepared a very small dose of painkiller in her medical injector. Pip, this might sting a little, but it will help with the pain. She showed Pip the injector just like she had with the scanner. The little dragon watched carefully as she demonstrated on herself with an empty injector. When Lisa slowly brought the real injector toward Pip's arm, the young dragon held very still. It seemed to understand that Lisa was trying to help, even though they couldn't speak to each other. The injection was quick. Pip made a small sound of surprise, but it didn't try to pull away. There, Lisa said. Give it a few minutes to work. While they waited, Ryan walked around the chamber looking at everything. This place is amazing. Look at these walls. They're actually warm, like they're alive. The whole ship seems to be grown instead of built, Jake said. I've never seen technology like this. It's not just technology, Lisa added. I think this ship really is alive. It's like a space-going creature that the Draknari live inside. Pip started to look more comfortable as the pain medicine began to work. Its breathing became slower and more normal. It even tried to make some friendly sounds at Lisa. You're feeling better, aren't you? Lisa said happily. Pip chirped and nodded. Then it did something surprising. It tried to copy Lisa's words. Beter, Pip said in a small voice. Everyone stared in amazement. Did it just try to speak? Ryan asked. I think it did. Lisa laughed. You're a smart one, aren't you, Pip? Pip seemed proud of itself. It tried again. Lisa, it said, pointing at her. Yes, that's right. I'm Lisa. She pointed at Jake, and that's Jake. Then at Ryan. And that's Ryan. Jake, Pip repeated carefully. Ryan. This is incredible, Jake said. It's learning our language just by listening. Lisa was studying her scanner readings again. The pain medicine is helping, but it's only temporary. That infected tooth needs to come out or the infection will get worse. Can you do that? Jake asked. I think so. I've done plenty of tooth extractions on humans. But I've never worked on a Draknari before. Their anatomy might be different. Pip seemed to understand they were talking about its tooth problem. It opened its mouth wide and pointed at the infected fang again. Help, Pip said in its small voice. Please help. Lisa felt her heart break a little. Oh, sweetie. Yes, I want to help you. But taking out that tooth is going to hurt. She started getting her dental tools ready. Jake, I'm going to need you and Ryan to hold Pip still. This won't be easy. But before they could begin, they heard something that made everyone freeze. Heavy footsteps were echoing through the corridors outside the chamber. The steps were much heavier than what a creature Pip's size would make. Something big is coming, Ryan whispered, raising his weapon. The footsteps got louder and faster. Whatever was making them had heard voices in the chamber and was moving toward them. Pip heard the footsteps too. Instead of looking scared, its eyes lit up with joy. Mama? Pip chirped happily. Jake and Ryan looked at each other with worry. If Pip's mother was anything like the stories said about adult Draknari, they were about to meet a very large, very dangerous, and probably very angry dragon. The footsteps stopped right outside the chamber entrance. A shadow filled the doorway. Then a massive creature stepped into the chamber, and Jake felt his breath catch in his throat. The adult Draknari was enormous, standing nearly 8 feet tall. Her scales were deep black with purple edges that seemed to shimmer in the chamber's soft light. Her wings were fully grown and powerful, folded against her back but still impressive. Her claws looked like they could cut through steel, but it was her eyes that made Jake's heart race. They burned with intelligence and fury. This was clearly Pip's mother, and she was not happy to see strangers near her child. The mother dragon let out a roar that shook the entire chamber. The sound was so loud and frightening that Ryan stumbled backward. Even Lisa, who had been focused on helping Pip, froze in terror. Pip, however, seemed delighted. Mama, Mama, the little one called out, trying to stand up despite its pain. The mother dragon's eyes locked onto the 3 humans. Her lips pulled back to show rows of sharp teeth. Each fang was as long as Jake's finger. She raised her clawed hands and Jake could see energy starting to glow around them. This was a warrior and she was ready to fight. Nobody move, Jake whispered to his team. Stay very still, the mother dragon spoke in her own language. Her voice was deep and musical but filled with anger. She was clearly demanding to know what the humans were doing near her child. Jake slowly raised his hands to show he had no weapons. We're trying to help, he said in a calm voice even though his heart was beating fast. The dragon mother didn't understand his words, but she understood the gesture. Still, her eyes remained angry and suspicious. Pip tried to explain to its mother in their language. The little dragon pointed at Lisa, then at its own swollen jaw, then made gestures like it was asking for help. But the mother dragon wasn't listening. She was too focused on the threat she saw in the humans. She pulled out a weapon from somewhere on her body. It was unlike any gun Jake had ever seen. It looked grown rather than built, like everything else on the ship. Energy crackled along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at. Please, Lisa said, stepping forward despite her fear. We just want to help your baby. The mother dragon pointed the weapon at Lisa. Her finger moved toward what looked like a trigger. Jake acted without thinking. He stepped between Lisa and the dragon mother, spreading his arms wide. No, he said firmly. Don't hurt her. She's trying to save your child. For a moment, everyone in the chamber was frozen. The mother dragon stared at Jake with surprise. Here was a tiny human, half her size, standing between her weapon and his friend. It was either very brave or very stupid. Lisa used the moment to act. She grabbed her medical scanner and held it up so the mother dragon could see it. She pointed the scanner at Pip and let it run its scan again. The device immediately started showing the red warning lights and making urgent beeping sounds. The mother dragon's eyes widened as she saw the readings. She might not understand human technology, but the bright red warnings were clear enough. Lisa then pointed at the scanner's display, then at Pip's swollen fang, then back at the display. She was trying to show the mother dragon how serious the infection was. Your baby is very sick, Lisa said, speaking slowly and clearly, even though she knew the dragon couldn't understand all her words. The tooth is infected. It needs to come out. To help explain, Lisa opened her own mouth and pointed at her teeth. Then she made a pulling motion with her fingers like she was taking something out. After that, she held up her dental tools so the mother dragon could see them. The mother dragon looked confused and angry. She spoke rapidly in her own language, probably asking what these strange creatures wanted to do to her child. Pip tried to help. The little dragon called to its mother and repeated the word it had learned. Help, Mama, help! The mother dragon's eyes went wide with shock. Her child was speaking the human language. Lisa, help! Pip continued, pointing at the doctor. Lisa, good. Pain stop. The mother dragon lowered her weapon slightly. She was starting to understand that these humans had been trying to communicate with her child. Lisa saw her chance. She very slowly approached Pip, showing every movement to the mother dragon. She held up her scanner again and ran it over Pip's jaw area. The infection readings were even worse than before. Look, Lisa said, showing the scanner to the mother dragon. See the red? That means infection. Very bad infection. She pointed at Pip's swollen fang, then at the red readings on the scanner. Then she made a spreading motion with her hands, trying to show how the infection would get worse. The mother dragon studied the scanner readings. She was clearly intelligent and was starting to understand what the device was showing her. Then Lisa did something that surprised everyone, including herself. She walked over to Ryan and asked to borrow his combat knife. Ryan looked confused but handed it over. Lisa held up the knife so the mother dragon could see it. Then she opened her own mouth, pointed at one of her back teeth and very carefully mimed cutting around it with the knife. She made a pulling motion, showing how a bad tooth could be removed. Then she smiled and touched her cheek, showing that after the tooth was gone, the pain would stop. The mother dragon watched every movement. She was beginning to understand that these small creatures had knowledge about healing that could save her child, but she was still suspicious. She spoke to Pip in their language, probably asking if the humans had hurt the little one. Pip responded quickly, shaking its head and pointing at Lisa. Good, Mama. Lisa, good. Pain less now. The mother dragon looked at her child more closely. Pip did seem more comfortable than before. The pain medicine Lisa had given was working. Lisa held up her dental tools again. She pointed at the infected fang, then at her tools, then made the pulling motion again. Please, she said. Let me help. The mother dragon stood silent for a long moment, thinking. Her child was in pain. These strange small creatures claimed they could help, but could she trust them? Finally, she lowered her weapon completely. She spoke in her deep, musical voice, and although the humans couldn't understand the words, her meaning was clear. If they harmed her child, she would hunt them across the galaxy for revenge. Jake nodded seriously. We understand. We won't hurt Pip. We promise. The mother dragon stepped aside, but she watched Lisa's every move with eyes like burning stars. Dr. Lisa Campbell carefully opened her medical kit, while the mother dragon watched her every move. The large creature had positioned herself where she could see everything Lisa was doing, but also where she could protect her child if needed. I need to set up a proper workspace, Lisa said to Jake, even though she kept her eyes on the dragon mother. This is going to be more complicated than I first thought. Jake nodded. What do you need? Help me move some of this equipment. And Ryan, I need you to contact the ship. Tell Megan to prepare the medical bay just in case something goes wrong. Ryan spoke quietly into his communicator while Jake helped Lisa arrange her medical tools on a flat surface near Pip's resting area. The mother dragon tilted her head watching them work. Her expression was still worried, but she no longer looked ready to attack. Lisa pulled out a small light and set it up to shine on Pip's face. The little dragon blinked in the bright light but didn't pull away. "Good, Pip," Lisa said gently. "I need to see what I'm working with here." She put on her medical gloves and carefully examined Pip's mouth. The infected fang was even worse than she had first thought. It wasn't just swollen. The area around it was dark and the smell of infection was strong. "Oh, sweetie," Lisa whispered. "This must hurt so much." Pip seemed to understand her sympathy. The little dragon made a soft sound and tried to stay very still while Lisa looked at the tooth. The mother dragon moved closer. She spoke in her musical language, and although Lisa couldn't understand the words, the tone was clear. She was asking what Lisa had found. Lisa looked up at the massive creature. "It's bad," she said honestly. "The infection has spread further than I hoped, but I think I can still save Pip." She pointed at the infected area, then held up her instruments to show what she would need to do. The mother dragon's eyes followed every gesture. "The problem is," Lisa continued, speaking to both Jake and the dragon mother, "Draknari fangs aren't like human teeth. Look here." She used a small probe to carefully touch the base of the infected fang. Both Pip and its mother made hissing sounds. "These fangs are connected to venom glands," Lisa explained. "If I'm not careful when I remove the tooth, I could damage the gland system. That could be very dangerous." Jake looked worried. "Dangerous how?" "The venom glands could rupture and poison Pip from the inside. Or they could get infected too, which would be even worse than what we have now." The mother dragon seemed to understand that Lisa was explaining something serious. She spoke rapidly in her own language, probably asking questions. Pip tried to translate, using the few human words it had learned. "Mama scared," Pip said. "Mama asked, 'Safe?'" Lisa looked directly at the mother dragon. "I don't know," she admitted. "I've never done this before. But if we don't try, the infection will spread and Pip will die." She held up her scanner again and showed both dragons the readings. The red warning lights were even brighter now. The mother dragon stared at the scanner for a long time. Then she looked at her child, who was trying to be brave but was clearly in terrible pain. She made a decision. The large dragon moved to Pip's side and gently stroked her child's head with one clawed finger. She spoke in soft, loving tones. Then she looked at Lisa and nodded slowly. "Thank you," Lisa said, understanding that she had been given permission to try. She prepared her tools carefully. "Jake, I need you to hold this light steady." "Ryan, help me keep Pip calm if the little one gets scared." "What about the mother?" Jake asked quietly. Lisa looked at the massive dragon. "I think she'll help us. She wants to save her baby as much as we do." Lisa prepared a stronger pain medicine for the procedure. She showed the injection to both dragons, demonstrating what it would do. "This will make Pip sleep a little," she explained. "No pain during the operation." The mother dragon watched carefully as Lisa gave Pip the injection. Within minutes, the little dragon's eyes became heavy and its body relaxed. "Perfect," Lisa said. "Now I can work." She positioned her tools and began the delicate process of removing the infected fang. The procedure was more difficult than any tooth extraction she had ever done. Draknari fangs had roots that went deep into the jaw, and they were connected to the venom system by tiny tubes. "I have to cut these connections very carefully," Lisa muttered as she worked. "If I nick one of the main venom ducts..." The mother dragon leaned closer, watching every tiny movement Lisa made. Her breathing was tense and her claws kept flexing with worry. "It's okay," Lisa said to her. "I'm being very careful." 20 minutes into the procedure, Lisa hit a problem. One of the venom connections was wrapped around the infected root in a way she hadn't expected. "This is tricky," she said. Pausing to think, the mother dragon made a questioning sound. "The tooth is stuck," Lisa explained, pointing at the problem area. "I need to cut it free, but I have to be very precise." She used her smallest surgical blade to carefully separate the venom duct from the infected root. It was slow, careful work. One wrong move could kill Pip. "Almost there," Lisa whispered. Finally, she felt the infected fang come loose. Very slowly, she pulled it free from Pip's jaw. The tooth was much larger than it had looked and was completely black with infection. "Got it," Lisa said with relief. She quickly cleaned the wound and applied medicine to prevent more infection. The mother dragon watched every step, her eyes bright with hope. There, Lisa said, stepping back. The tooth is out and the infection should clear up now. Pip was still sleeping from the medicine, but already the little dragon looked more peaceful. The fever that had been making its scales dull was starting to break. The mother dragon looked at the infected tooth Lisa was holding. She made a sound of disgust at how sick it had been. Yes, Lisa agreed. That would have killed Pip if we hadn't removed it. The mother dragon looked at Lisa for a long moment. Then she did something that surprised everyone. She bowed her great head in a gesture of respect and gratitude. "Thank you," she said in careful human words. Lisa smiled. "You're welcome. Pip is going to be just fine." 3 days had passed since Dr. Lisa Campbell removed the infected tooth from Pip. The little dragon had healed faster than anyone expected. Its scales had returned to their bright emerald color, and its energy seemed endless. Captain Jake Morrison watched from across the chamber as Pip followed Lisa around like a devoted puppy. The young dragon had learned many more human words and seemed fascinated by everything the humans did. "Lisa good," Pip said for the 100th time that day, pointing at the doctor with one small claw. "Lisa saved Pip." Lisa laughed and gently patted Pip's head. "You're very welcome, little one. How does your mouth feel today?" Pip opened its mouth wide to show the healing spot where the bad tooth had been. "No hurt, all better." The mother dragon, who had told them her name was Zephyra, watched the interaction with obvious affection. Over the past 3 days, her attitude toward the humans had completely changed. She no longer saw them as threats but as friends who had saved her child's life. "Zephyra," Jake said, approaching the large dragon carefully. "We should probably head back to our ship soon. Our crew will be worried about us." Zephyra nodded. She had been practicing her human words just like Pip. "Yes, understand. But first, Zephyra, tell story." She gestured for all the humans to sit down. Even sitting, she was still much taller than them. Her voice was deep and musical as she began to speak. "In Dreknari culture," she said slowly, choosing her words carefully, "courage most important thing. We tell stories of brave warriors who fight great battles." She paused and looked directly at Lisa. "But what Lisa do, more brave than any warrior?" "I don't understand," Lisa said. "I just pulled out a tooth." Zephyra shook her massive head. "Knows Lisa see enemy species child in pain. Lisa choose to help, not hurt. This take courage that warriors not have." She stood up and walked to a section of the chamber wall. Her claws touched a hidden panel, and part of the wall slid open to reveal a storage space. "Dreknari have saying," Zephyra continued as she reached into the storage area. "When someone save Clutch Child, they become family." She pulled out something that made all the humans gasp. It was a scale, but not just any scale. This one was much larger than Pip's scales and had a deep, rich purple color that seemed to glow with inner light. "This is scale from Zephyra's back," she explained. "Very special. Only given to family." She held the scale out to Jake. "For captain of tooth pullers." Jake accepted the scale with shaking hands. It was surprisingly light but felt warm, like it was still alive. This is incredible. Thank you. What does this mean exactly?" Ryan asked. Zephyra smiled, showing her impressive fangs. "Mean humans always welcome in Dreknari space. Mean if humans need help, Dreknari will come. Mean..." She paused, thinking of the right words. "Mean we are allies now." Pip bounced up and down excitedly. "Friends? Humans and dragons friends?" "That's right, little one," Lisa said, picking up Pip and giving the young dragon a gentle hug. "We're friends." Jake looked at the scale in his hands, understanding the importance of what had just happened. "Zephyra, this could change everything between our species." "Yes," she agreed. "Zephyra will tell other Dreknari about humans who help instead of hurt. About doctor who saved child of enemy." She turned to Lisa. "Lisa have special gift to see past fear and help those who need help. This very rare." Lisa felt tears in her eyes. "I just couldn't stand to see Pip in pain. Any doctor would have done the same thing." "No," Zephyra said firmly. "Most would see dangerous dragon and run away. Lisa see hurting child and run toward danger. This make Lisa special." Ryan checked his communicator. "Captain, Megan is asking when we'll be back. She's getting worried." Jake nodded. "We should go." He looked at Pip, who was still in Lisa's arms. "Will we see you again, little one?" Pip's eyes got sad. "Pip want to stay with Lisa best friend." Zephyra spoke gently to her child in their own language. Pip listened, then nodded sadly. Mama says Pip must learn more about being dragon first, Pip translated. But Pip, never forget Lisa. Never forget humans who help. Lisa set Pip down and knelt to be at the young dragon's eye level. And I'll never forget you, Pip. You were very brave during the operation. Lisa more brave, Pip insisted. They said their goodbyes, and Zephyra walked them back to their shuttle. At the airlock, she spoke to Jake one more time. Take message to human leaders, she said. Tell them Draknari remember kindness. Tell them doors open now for friendship. I will, Jake promised. As they flew back to the starward bound, Lisa looked out the window at the beautiful organic ship growing smaller behind them. You know what's funny? She said to Jake and Ryan. What? Jake asked. All my training, all my medical knowledge, all the complicated procedures I've learned, and the thing that might change galactic history is a simple tooth extraction. Ryan laughed. Leave it to humans to make first contact through dentistry. Back on their ship, Jake called a meeting with his full crew. He told them everything that had happened and showed them Zephyra's scale. This is just the beginning, he said. We've made contact with one of the most powerful species in the galaxy, and they want to be our friends. Megan Foster, who had stayed on the ship, shook her head in amazement. 3 days ago, we thought the Draknari were monsters. Now they're offering us an alliance. It just goes to show, Lisa said, that sometimes the best way to make friends is to help someone who's hurting. Jake activated the ship's communication system to send a message back to Earth Command. This is Captain Morrison of the Starward Bound. I'm sending an urgent diplomatic report. We have successfully made first contact with the Draknari species, and I'm pleased to report that the contact was positive. He paused, thinking about everything that had happened. It all started when our doctor pulled a tooth from a little dragon who was in pain. Sometimes the most important moments in history begin with the simplest acts of kindness. As the Starward Bound turned toward home, carrying news that would change everything, Lisa smiled and touched the small dragon scale that Pip had given her as a goodbye present. In the vast darkness of space, two species had found friendship in the most unexpected way, and it all began with a simple phrase, "Little dragon, come here. Your tooth hurts and I'll pull it out for you."